All right, what's going on, everybody? Milwaukee coming at you once again. And today, the topic of discussion is going to be the novel Star Wars Aftermath by Chuck Wendig. New York Times best-selling novel here, and I got some thoughts about it. Let's get into it. I want to start off right off the bat by apologizing. I'm just getting over a bout of COVID. My voice is not where it would usually be, but I gotta make this video. I can't wait. I just got so much to say about this novel. This novel is, of course, part of Disney's Journey to the Force Awakens publishing initiative, where they publish a bunch of stuff that's supposed to give us all the answers that we would be seeking leading into the new Episode 7 film. Had I read this novel when it originally came out, I probably would have been a lot more upset about it. This one, of course, being the only adult novel in the Journey to the Force Awakens publishing line by Disney, which is supposed to give us all the answers that we would need going into Episode 7. So if you picked this book up on day one and you didn't read anything about it, like the synopsis in the back or anything, you probably would have thought that you're in for the second coming of the Thrawn trilogy. Like a good story that bridges the gap between Episode 6 and Episode 7. Something featuring your favorite Star Wars characters, Han, Luke, and Leia, doing it big in between the two movies, right? But you would be wrong. And that's not really something I'm going to hold against this novel because coming to it like 10 years later or whatever it is at this point, I sort of understand the Disney MO. And the Disney MO, as I see it, is they want to show you important events throughout Star Wars history through the eyes of unimportant characters. But don't take my word for it. See the show The Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett or Ahsoka. All shows that are, they're fine. But wouldn't you rather be watching a show about Han, Luke, and Leia? I know I would. But this is the best that Disney can do. They give you new characters that you don't really care about, and they try to tell you stories that they want you to believe matter in the grand scheme of things. But as we come to find out in Aftermath, they really don't. Star Wars Aftermath is, of course, as I previously stated, the only adult novel that would have been released prior to The Force Awakens. And of course, it stars a cast of all brand new characters, both on the Rebel side and on the Imperial side. The two main characters we follow throughout the novel on the side of the Rebels is a Y-Wing pilot, Nora Wexley, and as her counterpart on the Imperial side is Admiral Ray Sloan. Two strong, independent women that are just getting things done out here in a galaxy far, far away. The bulk of the novel takes place entirely on the planet Akiva, which is the site of a new Imperial summit where all the remaining, well, I say all the remaining, but there's always more out there, you know it. But these important Imperials, they're gathering to hold these summits to decide the future of the Empire. And let me tell you, they didn't exactly send their best. Joining the likes of Admiral Ray Sloan, we get Grand Moff Valko Pandian. Never heard of him. We get General Jylia Shale. Must be some general, huh? But we can't forget about Sith cultist Yupi Tashu. Yeah, I can really see her advising the Emperor. And of course, there's slaver Arson Crassus. Why these were the Imperials that were left over to decide the fate of the Empire, I don't know. And as the novel goes on, you'll see that you won't know either. So, like I said, the whole premise of the book is that Nora Wexley, fresh off the Battle of Endor, she flies home to her home planet of Akiva to retrieve her son, Temmin Snap Wexley. And when she gets back to her home planet, she finds that her planet is blockaded and occupied by these Imperial forces. But what's this? She also intercepts a transmission that, pilot Wedge Antilles has been captured by these Imperials and is sending out a distress call to any rebels in the area. So Nora, she is torn between family and duty. What is she gonna do? Oh, I know. You bursting with anticipation. So Nora gets back to the planet. She looks to reunite with her son, who she totally abandoned, by the way, to go join the rebellion. And she's shocked to find out that her son has become entangled with the planet's local, gangster warlord. She's absolutely shocked. I don't know what she expected to happen, where she abandoned her son with her sister and her lesbian lover so she could go join the rebellion, and left little Temmin at home with no father figure in the house. What did she think was going to happen? Of course, she was going to run off and get involved with the local gangsters. I mean, come on. But of course, Temmin doesn't want nothing to do with his mother because she abandoned him. Finally, not much of a fan of the character of Temmin, but I was rooting for him. He was really giving his mother the business. And who does she think she is? Just go and abandon him like that to go off and fight in a rebellion that didn't even need her. I don't know. Anyway, over the course of the book, Nora and Temmin link up with rogues such as Mr. Bones, Temmin's B1 battle droid that he modified to become his personal protector. And then we got bounty hunter Jas Imari and Imperial turncoat Sinjir Rath Velis. And these form up our group of ragtag rebels that are going to take on those Imperial winners that I mentioned previously that are holding a summit to decide the fate of the Empire. What could go right? The book is divided into 4 parts. Part 1 is all the characters arriving on the planet of Akiva and introducing them, what they're doing there. Part 2 is all the characters coming together via circumstances where they realize that they're better working together than they are working opposite each other. Part 3 is them executing their plan. And part 4 is just, setting up the sequel novel. As far as things that I enjoyed about the novel, I guess the characters, they're not too bad. They all have some qualities that are enjoyable. In particular, the bounty hunter, Jas Imari, and, the Imperial turncoat, Sinjir, Rath Velis. They're pretty funny playing off each other. As for some of the things I liked about the novel, the characters, the rebels, they eventually grow on you. And you see them, working together and you see them, working together, coming together, how they're gelling as a group. And, at the end of the book, you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'll look forward to seeing them in the next novel, seeing what they can really do once they get past this whole, meeting up phase and they're getting into the action of it, right? Another thing that I wanted to put into the likes category was this book was really diverse. And I'm not talking necessarily about real world diversity where you got all these, races represented. You got your Asian character, your black character, and all this stuff. I'm talking about in terms of the Star Wars universe, the diversity of the alien races used. Something that you really gotta applaud Chuck. He really did his research. He comes across, as someone who is really a Star Wars fan. Like I was saying, Chuck, he comes across as someone who was a fan of Star Wars. He was in the trenches. He knows these races. He knows these planets. He just knows his stuff when it comes to this, and you got to give credit where credit's due. Very diverse book. Some alien races that were blasts from the past. I was like, whoa, I remember those. But yeah, so good on you, Chuck, for that. Another thing I want to point out in the likes category is the interludes. I said before that the majority of this book takes place on the planet Akiva, which it does, and Chuck does a really good job of fleshing out that planet. Some of the history. You're really gonna get sense of it's just a planet, hot tropical planet. Good description, but the interludes where we visit so many other planets, like little snapshots of the galaxy, here and there and everywhere. It's probably like a Guinness World Record of the most planets ever visited in a single Star Wars novel. So again, Chuck, he really did his homework, and he really delivered with that aspect of the novel. As for what I didn't like, well, how long do you got? The book is it's not a bad book. I actually ended up enjoying Chuck Wendig's writing style more than I thought that I would, considering all that I knew about Chuck I heard on the internet, and none of it was good. Well, yeah, I figured I'd give the guy a chance anyway, and I found his writing style to be a little bit breezy, fun to, a little bit fun. Some of the analogies and similes and stuff. Did it fit Star Wars? I mean, maybe it could take out, some people from their reading experience with like a lot of real world, not necessarily real world references, but stuff like, oh, he pissed into punched into the gut of the stormtrooper or whatever, little things like that. I thought it was fun. Uh, so yeah, overall, I guess I enjoyed Chuck's writing style, and yeah, so I guess overall I enjoyed Chuck's writing style, and I'm looking forward to the next two novels in trilogy to see how he wraps this all up. I felt like the Imperial characters were just trash all across the board. Ray Sloan not really invoking any confidence in herself throughout this novel. The other characters, luckily they're all like dead at the end, so it doesn't really matter. Spoilers. But in the epilogue of this book, we're introduced to this mysterious character who was all like, "Oh, Ray Sloan, I sent you to the planet to hold these summits with these Imperials, for you to fail. And the fact that you actually made it back alive, shows me that you got what it takes. So, welcome to the real Empire, I guess." So it just, infuriated me, like when I got to that part when it was like, these Imperial characters were so bad. And now we get here to the end of the book, the epilogue, and you're telling me they were like bad on purpose. It's like, come on. You know, I kind of hate it when like books waste your time like that. Like I read some doozies in my day. I'm looking at you, House's trilogy from Dune, where it's like 2,000 pages of like wasting your time because none of it ultimately matters. Yeah, that's kind of what you get, with this book. Although it's not really 2,000 pages, it's like only 400. Like I said, they go by pretty quick. But you get to the book and you realize the whole time you're reading the book, you're like, man, these characters, these Imperials are inept and they suck. They stand no chance of rebuilding the Empire. And then you get to the end of the book and it's like, oh yeah, that's by design, buddy. Tune in next time for the real Imperial experience. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, Ray Sloan didn't really do anything for me in this book. Uh, I guess she's from another book that I haven't read, where she's like a young like cadet or something, and now she's the best of the rest, I guess, because they're really trying to build her up into something, and maybe over the next two books, but I doubt it. Uh, some other stuff I didn't really care for was the drama for the sake of drama and the twists for the sake of twist. I guess that's book 101 though, keep them guessing, but some of the decisions by these characters were just baffling. The one tie that I know of this book going into The Force Awakens is the character of Temin. Snap Wexley. I had to get that one in there one more time. Uh, you know, Fat guy from Heroes over here. And yeah, he has a moment in this book that's just so dumb. I'm like, how did you even survive to The Force Awakens? Yeah, look at me when I'm talking to you. Okay? Dumb. What he does is he sells out the group to the Imperials and the local, gangsters, in the hopes that they'll spare him and his mother because he wants to keep living on his home planet Akiva. But doesn't go well for him, and they end up throwing him off like a 4-story palace. And he lands on the protesters outside, and he starts crowd surfing. It's kind of a dumb scene because you throw a guy like that off of the 4 stories, and I don't care how many protesters are down there waiting to catch him. They're going to go splat, right? But that's the book for you, just stuff like that. I feel like, Chuck kind of writes characters and stuff into the corner, and then he gets them out through like the dumbest ways. Another example of this is when all the characters are captured and they're riding the Imperial shuttle up to the Star Destroyer to escape the planet. Moff Pandian, he's staring like lasers, through Sinjir, and Sinjir's like, oh, what is it? You must fancy me. Because, Sinjir, if you didn't know, he's the first openly gay character in Star Wars. This is history, people. If you didn't know, now you know. So Sinjir's all like, oh, you like what you see? And Moff Pandian, who wants to be the next emperor, by the way. This clown wants to be the emperor? I don't think so. So Pandian's like, oh, no, I can't stand you Imperial traitors. How dare you? And so the bounty hunter, Jas, she's like, oh, let me kill him for you. He means nothing to me. And so, Moff Pandian is like, oh, well, how much? And they, negotiate a price. And so, Pandian, he walks over there, and he hands her the blaster, and he's like, oh, wait, you're still in handcuffs. I guess our deal's off. Ha, 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 I'm so evil. But, of course, Jas got the handcuffs off, and she, grabs the blaster, and she's like, oh, I got you now. She's holding him hostage, and the stormtroopers are like, oh, what do we do? And how they get out of this scene? They immediately crash land, and it's all for nothing. And it's like, come on, these time wasting scenes with like this terrible Moff Pandian character. I just didn't like him. It's just scenes like that where it's like, man, what are you even doing? Why is this here? It's drama for the sake of drama. A twist, for the sake of twist when Temid is the one who sells them out. And of course, there's no consequences because, the heroes, they all live. Ray Sloan, slinks off to the real Empire. And it was all a bunch of nothing at the end of the day. It's just a story about this group coming together, and I guess we'll see in the next 2 books what they're able to accomplish. And I actually wonder if they're ever going to show up with anything ever again. I don't know. So, yeah. Overall, for me, this book, like I said, I read it pretty quickly. It didn't overstay its welcome. There was a couple of, facepalm moments, Picard, facepalm moments where it's like, what are they doing? These are the best of the Imperials. This is the future of the Empire. I don't think so. Like I said, it kind of felt like a little bit of a stringing you along, kind of like a waste. And at no point did you feel like the heroes were in jeopardy or that the villains were going to win. It's really just a story of this group of this rebel cell coming together. Like I said, we'll see what they do next. And overall rating for the book, it's middle of the road. It's a 3 for me. It's not bad enough to be a 2, but there wasn't any good moments to bump it up to a 4. It's just there. I know the book received a lot of pushback when it first came out. Like I said, had I read it then, I probably would have been more upset. But since enough time's gone by, and I went into it knowing that I wasn't going to get what I wanted out of the book, I was able to enjoy it. Like I said, I've seen shows like Mandalorian and stuff where they're going to show you important events through the eyes of unimportant characters, and you're just going to have to deal with it. So yeah, I'm going to give Star Wars Aftermath by Chuck Wendig a 3 out of 5. I enjoyed it enough that I'm going to want to see what happens next. But that's going to be all for me for now. Thanks for watching.